Go. Hopefully it is. Eh, it says it's working. We never know on this program whether it's working or not. Good evening, everyone. This is Wide Open Phones. I'm your host, Goddamn Bacon. Thank you for tuning in. Toasting the tip of my cigar at first, as Vincent of MasculineGeek.live has told me to do. It's one of his tips that he gave me at the meetup. May have toasted a little bit too much. Started to get like Bowl of Cow's nips. Really, most chicks' nips. You only get the pink ones with the white girls. Kind of like the blonde hair. Pretty rare. Usually you just get darker nipples. Bowl of Cow's they're particularly dark for some reason. I'm trying out a new cigar actually tonight. By Onyx Reserve. It's a Robusto. I really should look this shit up because there's different types of cigars. I know there's Robusto, there's Churchill, and then there's I think one or two other types really. All right, I think I got enough of the cherry on this one. Yeah, I'm going to check into that. Yeah, the Robustos, the shorter ones. Churchills are the really big ones, hence the name Churchills. The ones you see Churchill, in pictures actually, what do you call it? Well, you see them in pictures with them. Yeah, I'll add that to my list. List of things to look up. Excuse me. Could have hit the mute button, but I didn't. That's just me being sort of professional. Yeah, well, I've had quite the issue today. Again, I'm glad I got the window fans up there, and I'm about a week or two away from ordering the acrylic, so I could put those up there instead of the storage bins that I have up in the windows. But I'm glad I have the setup that I do now. I have ribs sitting in they're in the oven now. Learned a little bit about how those go. I followed a couple of cooking classes or cooking channels on YouTube, rather. I learned with tougher pieces of meat, I think like brisket. I mean, cross-cut ribs, which is what I have now, and other things. Pieces of meat that you wouldn't think of as steaks. You wouldn't make steaks out of them. So ribeye, that's out. New York strip, that's out. Tenderloin, that's out. Even chuck eye, rather. By the way, a very underrated cut and pretty close to ribeye quality, but like half the fucking price. There's your free tip for today. But the other ones, you think your London broil, your briskets, stuff like that. Stuff that's bottom round, I guess, if you want to cook that for whatever reason. Stew meats, there's a reason it's called a stew meat. I mean, you cook it for 2, 3, 4, 5 something hours. You know, brisket, that's the one that takes like what, all fucking day. Learn a little bit about how the cooking actually works, so that's what I've been doing. The only problem is that the way I get the oven up to operation, it requires a lot of heat, and that ends up bringing a lot of smoke. So I won't get into too much detail about how I actually deal with that, but I'm glad I got a good exhaust system going here. A lot of different intakes too. Fun fact about this place, Fort Skydudgeon here, where I am broadcasting live here from. The living space itself is pretty small, especially if you're going to be living with, you know, a significant other, and God knows if you have children. Are you going to get back to playing music or what?
Listeners supported classical from the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
We'll get to that English piece with a German title.
We'll get back to that. Anyways. But the nice thing is that, there we go, that's much better. It has stores that kind of wraps around the unit here. So it also has entrances on both ends, actually. The other thing that I thought maybe, you know, it was something that I might need to address is that, you know, it's sort of open air. You can see daylight through parts of it. So it's open. Now, the entrances to get into those, they're pretty airtight. But I was thinking maybe, you know, like just the interest of keeping this place cool or whatever. End up, you know, taking the time to block all those off. And I'm pretty sure that would take at least 2 to 3 days or whatever. Then I realized, especially where these are placed, they're perfect for drawing in good air. Assuming, of course, that like this summer, there isn't any fucking smoke in the air. And therefore, the air needs to be filtered. That filter setup is still in the window on the other side of this, by the way. Well, yeah, when the air is relatively clean, like it usually is up here 95% of the time, when shit isn't burning down, that makes for a great intake. So yeah, I've got that open. And I've got the one in my bedroom actually open as well. And what that actually allows me to do, and going back to the beefer and stuff, every time I cook something in the oven, inevitably it gets too hot and the oil or whatever the hell is cooking starts smoking. You know, it gets on the floor of the oven, or foil sheet. You know, the foil sheet itself, which is all the oil or whatever, it starts smoking or whatever. So I have to vent this place out. You know, smoke will get in the living room. That's where the intake there helps. The stairwell, that's I have to block that off with like a towel or something else because it's open air. So I have to do in that case is open it up. The bedroom, there's no windows or anything in there, but there's that crawl space opening. Just open that, you know, and then for normal operations, I just open the walk-in closet, and the walk-in closet is the other entrance. It's directly in there. And so that's what I've been using to just the walk-in closet entrance. I'll block the other ones off. But I've just been using that to give enough air so the exhaust actually works the way it's supposed to work. And then here's what just happened actually before I went live. I went to open the door and I made sure that the, what is it, little latch or whatever actually latches up. Because for whatever reason it wasn't at, before. And 3 of the 4 screws that hold the door onto the goddamn the wall, they came the fuck out. So I know exactly what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Putting much bigger screws in there. Jeez, the work never ends, man. The work never fucking ends. Not around here, at least. Maybe you're a socialist. You have somebody else doing the work for you. So good for you. Glad my tax style is going to help that. But me, I got to do this shit myself. At any rate, we'll get to the topic momentarily. By the way, a moment is 90 seconds, so keep that in mind. Out there in the rest of this beer. So glad I set things up the way I did. I really am. I believe this is the last of the the red box wines, which I'm trying in a fairly cheap glass, and I'm not even sure if the glass is supposed to be for red or white wine. And to be honest, I don't think it really matters too much. There may be some slight advantages to one, disadvantage to other, but in the end, it's fucking wine. It's a drink. You just fucking drink it. This is Franzie's dark red blend. And there's other boxes. I might get into those at some point. They're a little bit pricier than these. the reason I'm going with the Franzia ones, you know, it's the bang for your buck. What's the proof on this actually? I don't think I ever looked on any of these to see what the proof was. Hang on. Oh shit, 13.5. Oh, that's pretty fucking good. I'll be sure to look at the other ones. Their cab wasn't too bad. Their Merlot I really liked. The Chianti was... Chiantis aren't supposed to be all that sweet. But this one was, for whatever reason. What was the other one I had? The Chillable Red one. And you know that's for kind of like the party chicks or something. That one was pretty fucking sweet. That's your easy. If you're thinking about wine, you know, and you're not, you know, and it's kind of the cheap wine, that's the one you get, the chillable one. Like, it's cold and it's sweet. That's what it is. Bad. Not that bad, at least. Yeah, definitely last place as far as Franzia goes. Do I try other wines? Yes, I do. Been doing that for 2, 3, 4 fucking years now. Probably even 5. But I figured I'd give that a shot. You know what? Try this dark red blend. Pretty rich. On the box it says full body and in between dry, medium dry. I would say definitely medium dry. Pairs well with beef, chocolate cake, and stargazing? Okay. Staring at stars now. I didn't know you could pair a wine with stargazing. They have a description of it. A dark red blend, rich, juicy flavors of dark fruit with black cherry aromas. Hang on, do I smell cherry in here? I would drink enough that I should be able to get a smell out of it if the cigar smoke hasn't fucked my nose up, which is already fucked up to begin with. I don't really smell anything. And this is at, well, for here at least, room temperature, which was 65 degrees or so. It's not bad. It's pretty, I say this is actually pretty good. I like it. And I've had good wines. Don't get me wrong. I've had Justin Vineyards. Stag Leaps. God, who's another good one? Mayomi Wine Cellars. They're down in Willamette, Oregon, I believe. This ain't too bad. And I like the color that's coming out of it, too. So, you know what? Hey, you make fun of the women getting the goddamn, you know, boxes of wine. Depending on the box of wine, you know what? It ain't too fucking bad. Hey, I might be I've been in this. I've been trying this out for about a month now. I might start getting more of these. You know, hey, talk about the prepper thing. The things that it says, I'll read them off here. Stays fresh for up to 6 weeks after opening. That's kind of important for a bottle of wine. Usually you got about 2-3 days to drink it. That's if you're lucky. Like after you pop the cork and all that stuff. 6 weeks after opening, I mean, it comes with a spigot and it's in a bag and all that stuff. By the way, look at Bodo bags. Kind of the same idea. Smaller carbon footprint than glass bottles will, I mean, that means less plant oxygen, basically. What are the plants going to breathe? There's less carbon in the air. Less packaging. That's the thing. You know, it's compact for what it is. It's lightweight. You know, if you wanted to carry around liner, you wanted to use it to barter, this would be perfect. Because this will cost, you know, especially this quality, this is not that bad. You know, to use a phrase when you're talking about veggies that, you know, vegetable dishes that people want to sell you, at the risk of using that terminology, I'm going to say it. It's really not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I do like the dark red blend. And several other ones. Chianti and chillable, you know, it's not bad, but I don't think I'll stock up on that, to be honest. Unless I have a chick coming over or something. Actually, that's a good reason to have at least a box of that. But you know what? Bang for your buck and real fucking light. Considering the volume. So there's my vote for Franzia's dark red blend there. On to the topic. Now, if you've seen the thumbnail that I put together, yes, it took me a minute to actually put that together. Because the pacing, all this other shit that happens during live streams and stuff. This is 2 weeks ago, I think. And I don't remember exactly what the topic of the show was. I remember it said the show must go on. I could actually, you know, nobody's tuning in, nobody's calling, so I could probably actually play the audio in a moment. Or using the actual definition, more than a moment. Yeah, you know what? Why not? Why not look for it now? No one's tuning in anyway, so who cares? Oh, Ray John's awake. Wonder why he's not tuning in. What the fuck? There we go. What happened, phones? Wartime mindset. Apparently, I'm live. Logged in here. Let's go to his page. Oh, we even saved the.
I clear. Fucking shit, guys, relax.
I found it. Oh, well, actually, I didn't find it. It saved it for me.
Shows to be on to talk about this kind of stuff.
Sean McClain listening with you in his early morning hours, and this next piece is the one I was talking about from the Foolishman. He was to be engaged to Caroline.
So we'll play the actual audio. I sent a poem in, and it's in the thumbnail. Now you'll be looking at here. All right, so I got that ready to go. Nice. Hey, something's actually working here for once. And so I got a little bit under Jack Napier's skin. By the way, I advertised his site, Personal Strength Consulting. Apparently, he got rid of that. So I'll have to go back. And what I'm going to be doing at some point is adding actual YouTube channels. Chris Von Erich, by the way, follow him, Chris Von Erich. Chris without an H, Von Erich. E-R-I-K. He might do want to advertise. I don't think he has his own website, but that's what I want to do with the people who have like YouTube channels and stuff, but they don't have a website. I'll add an actual YouTube section to the advertising section. Jack Napier, I'm probably going to have to do the same thing with him. Long story short, AOC, that's what the fuck, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I believe that's her name. She made this tweet about getting a list of the names of people who voted for Trump. Now, this is not a political show. None of my shows are really political shows. I don't subscribe to any of the two or any other sides. Just to be clear, I am unbound. That is my official political stance. I am unbound to this shit. And yes, that is very triggering to a lot of people who like to put you in boxes. They like to bind you to things. That's part of the point. But that's my stance nonetheless. But I do recognize the threats of, let's just say, one particular side here. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Now, as far as AOC here goes, that's her acronym, basically. She was going to make, she called for making lists of people. By the way, where have you heard that before? If you guessed Nazi Germany, you win a prize. Again, there's a reason I'm bringing that up. But I had a particular poem for that, and I'll go ahead and read it for you. Actually, I want to read it because I remember it. For people like AOC, by the way, there's a reason I worded it the way that I did. Also talk about that. Violets, or Jesus, I'm already fucking up. Let's start over. Roses, an arterial shade of red. Oh no, let me start over again. It's been a long night, let's just put it that way. Roses are crimson artery red. Violets are an indigo veiny blue. Don't worry, babe. I'll hashtag mask up when it's time to come after and inside you. So that's what I said. I put that in the super chat. And now here's
after the French composer François Couperin wrote that, another Frenchman by the name of Elie Satie would write pieces for keyboard as well with strange, mysterious titles.
I'm going to talk over him anyways. I don't care. Here's Jack Napier's response to that.
You're no better than these liberals that are having a meltdown over Trump derangement syndrome.
And now that we mentioned that, can I point something out real quick?
Sure.
I mean, Bacon, thank you for the 56 super chat, home for AOC. Well, I thank you for the money, but I am not going to cite something that incites violence to someone. If I see any of you idiots in the chat talking about literally shooting somebody again, you're out. Like clear. This fucking horseshit.
Yeah, guys, relax. Seriously. Just
That's
relax.
Bacon's thing. Well, I guess Bacon can go somewhere else. Done. Piss
Fair
off.
enough. Well, you know, that's the things. It's like, just, guys, relax. We, in the past, in 2016, we mocked the left for crying liberal tears and having meltdowns because Trump got in. And yet now I'm seeing the right, for lack of better words, the conservatives doing the exact same thing. It's like, guys,
Shocking.
if you're going to do that, you're literally no better than them. Just relax.
Ask me how I know.
I mean,
Okay?
it's not.
Ask yourself, how does this directly impact you? How is this taking money out of is this taking food off your table? Is this gonna get you to lose your job or something like that? You know, how is this impacting you? How are you letting it impact you? Okay, you can wind yourself up to the point that you say shit that you might end up on a list. Okay, you might end up getting banned or kicked or deplatformed or whatever it might be. Fucking relax, guys.
I mean,
This shit's gone on. I can remember way back when Bill Clinton got in and the fucking uproar that brought in. And you know what? The country survived. Okay. The same thing happened when Obama got in. There was an uproar then. It's like, this is nothing new. Okay. This kind of shit, if you do your research and you do your homework, you're going to find gerrymandering and voter fraud and tampering and all that bullshit. This goes all the way back, guys. This is another fucking day in the life of America. So,
I mean,
just relax.
it's not cool or something, or you don't look like a big guy when you yell on the internet and you're gonna tell people you're gonna do something to them.
No, you don't. You look like a loose cannon. Is what
Yeah,
I know.
if you're doing it in my chat, they're gonna look at my channel, and I'm gonna be held accountable for that shit. So it's fine you're on the spectrum with me, but you're gonna be on the spectrum somewhere else. So I'll be very clear on that. It might lose me a couple of subscribers, but you're not going to sit here and tell everybody how you're going to do certain things. Like, you're not welcome here. I'm very clear with that. Oh, you're European? No, it's not about that. We're not inciting violence here. Like, being angry, okay, we'll do that. But we're not inciting violence. Any, going too far or?
No, I think you said it well. It's like, guys, relax. For all the mocking that we've done in the past about the left and, oh, they're triggered and Karen's going off. It's like, I'm seeing the same thing coming from the from the other side. It's like, guys, chill. Seriously, ask yourself, how does this directly impact you? It only directly impacts you as much as you allow it. Okay? I could be losing my shit over this, and I'm not. It's like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be, whether it is fraud or it's legit. Trump stays, he goes. You know what? Life goes on. Okay, it really does.
Non-stop trade makes a good point. Imagine if social media was around in the 90s. I thought about that.
It probably would be worse. I would say he's accurate on that. And that brings up a good point. Guys, get off the fucking internet once in a while. Take a couple of days off. Especially right now. It's like, dude, take some time off. Go out in the sun while you still can before it gets really cold, before winter really shows up. Get outside and do some shit. Get away from social media. To me, social media is literally no better than mainstream media because it's all a bunch of fucking people screaming at the top of their lungs on both sides. And it's like, that's why I've taken a step back from Twitter. It's like, dude, it's all outrage all the time. That's what social media is. It's the all outrage channel. And all it's doing is working you up to a point that you're either going to say or do something stupid, and it's going to get you in trouble ultimately, or it's going to give you a fucking heart attack at some point. Relax. Who cares what Karen thinks? Because that's the whole thing when I wrote a post about a year ago called There Is No Spoon. Everyone's all fired up about the wham, and I'm like, well, you know, at least when I go out into the real world, the women around here didn't get the memo. They didn't get the memo that you need to hate white men. It's like, no, they're actually okay with me. I'm not seeing a lot of the bullshit that I see on social media. I'm not seeing it in real life. And real life trumps, haha, pun, but real life trumps social media. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, guys, take a break. Get off social media for a fucking week. You know, take some time off and go do something else.
Go play Mario.
You know,
I'm still busy with Sunshine, by the way. Like this being ill thing, kind of isn't that bad?
You know, and I'm not trying to downplay you, Phil. I'm not. Everyone's gonna have their.
All right, and there you go. And by the way, let's just plug both of these guys real quick. So the Dutch asshole there is Jack Napier. You can find him at Jack Napier on YouTube. Rob Says, you can find him at Rob Says. Both of those guys do shows. They do their own video clips and all that stuff. And it's good shit. And I do enjoying Rob. He does the Salt Lake Sit Down every once in a while. He hasn't been doing them too much. I think his last one was with a band. I think, what the hell was it called? Some box or something. I'm not going to be able to pull that out of my ass right now. But that was also a good show. This was on Red Evening. As far as Jack Napier's show. Definitely worth tuning into. But that's what happened. And I still remember, you know, I was going to actually try to put in the chat, you know, live. Keep in mind, I'm working when Jack does the show. Let's put that out there. Fridays, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Fridays. Or I guess Saturday if you're on Eastern Standard Time. Jack's in the Netherlands. He's on the other side of the planet. So that exchange happened. Or not much of an exchange. He put me in timeout for like, I guess and I've been a mod, so I should fucking know this, but I don't, because I'm terrible as a mod. I'd rather interact with the trolls and fuck with them. Unless they're like really fucking spammy or something like that. And I haven't really had to deal with that too much, really. So I haven't really had to actually do any modding. But I think the standard is 300 seconds. That's 5 minutes. In case you were wondering. So I got put in timeout. And I was let back on and all that stuff. And we talked back and forth later during that show about other things. So it's fine. No love lost with Jack. Not at all. I understand where he's coming from, you know. And what he said was, you don't want what could be, Joe Dolio said it best, tactical-wisdom.com, by the way. If you're listening to this, you're smart enough to actually look ahead, and that Joe's channel or Joe's website will definitely help you get ahead even more so with his content. So tactical-wisdom.com. He himself said it. Joe Stradamus said this. The First Amendment is effectively dead. There are things that you can say, even though your speech is supposedly protected here in the United States, and God knows what it is like in the Netherlands. I can kind of understand where Jack is coming from. But even here, shit, you say you can get your account deleted, you can get the fucking cops at your door. So don't get me wrong, I totally understand where Jack is coming from. You can't really be too careful. And the thing that stands out about, just that in particular, how long he left on the screen. I knew something was wrong. Now understand, I know that's going a little bit far, even for me. And there's a reason I did it anyways. But there's a reason I did it anyways. But I looked at that, I was like, he's living on the screen a little bit long, and Rob was making his points before then. And if you want to hear that, go, I think it's his third last show, I believe. At the time of this recording, at least. What was it called? The Show Must Go On? I think that's what it was called. Anyways. It was a good show all around, by the way. Just to put that out there. Most of, if not all of his shows, with him and Rob, they're all good. Worth listening to, worth subscribing, worth hitting the like button, worth hitting the notification bell, which you should be doing for his show, his channel, Rob's channel, and my channel here. Let's just throw that in there. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So let me say one more time. I understand where he's coming from. He might have even agreed with, I don't think he agreed with it, but he understood where I was coming from. No pun intended. By the way, in case the FBI is listening again, I ain't gonna go look for AOC. I got other shit to do. That shit ain't happening. If you can even interpret what the fuck I was saying to be bad. But let's talk about that. The reason I worded it like that, first of all, is because I know the threat that Jack was talking about. Trust me, I'm on my third fucking Twitter account, and I've had my Instagram account flagged like 100 fucking times. Not only that, this is my second Gmail account that I've had a YouTube channel tied to. First time was, just to give you a little bit of back history, I was trying to turn MP3s into MP4s. That's what you need to do to actually get a podcast on Google. And by the way, That is a royal fucking pain in the ass. I mean, a royal pain in the ass. In the end, it was not worth it. Not only did my YouTube channel delete it, I still have the account, but a lot of that shit there is still fucking flagged. That's why I'm baking comments and not baking Maldito. What kind of cigar is this again? Zulu or something? I already took the color off, so. What was it? Whatever, it's mild, I'll tell you that. Well, let's just say, just through experience and let alone the research, I know what will get flagged and what won't. Because I've already been there. And so when it comes to inciting violence and stuff like that, definitely I would not fucking do that. Especially when it comes to somebody else's channel. Because as Jack himself said, then he might be liable for it. And that's not something that I want to happen. I'm fine with bad behavior, but I'm not going to do it at the expense of somebody else. Especially somebody else that I care for. That's not happening. So that's why I worded it the way I did. I didn't say I was going to do the R word to her. Or anyone else for that matter. Or we'll be expanding on that in a little bit too. There's a reason I'm going down that path. But there was no specific threat against her. I said this is a poem for her. That means I'm just writing a poem. And she might want to listen to it. The poem didn't actually feature her. And that's also for good reason. Because a lot of other people that I might be targeting at some point. Who knows? If I actually should decide to do it. Here's the thing about inciting violence. I say I'm going to kill you. Let's use Jack Napier as an example. He pisses me off because, I don't know, he put me in timeout for 5 minutes. Because of something I said. And I go, oh, gee, dude, I'm pissed off and I'm going to fly over to the Netherlands and bash your head in. See, that's a threat. That's me saying I actually am going to do something. Rob says, .net he doesn't invite me to his house. Hey, fuck you, asshole. I'm going to track down where your house is and I'm going to set it on fire. See, that's a threat. By the way, that's a reasonable threat. And there's two types of threats, by the way, as far as the cops go. And trust me, I know because I asked. If the threat is tangible and can be done, reasonably, then it can be a legal crime. If it isn't, then it can't. Ask me how I know. I've talked to the cops myself and figured that out. You know, or they've at least told me and they have informed me about that. Hey, Rob, you didn't invite me to your house. You know, I'm going to have aliens come abduct it. They're going to take your whole house into their spaceship, and you're going to be anally probed. See, that's not a realistic threat. As a Leo that I talked to said, you know, he'll sit back and just laugh at that. Well, I said, we're going to come to your house and shoot you. That's a real fucking threat. That's something that could be taken as such. And that may or may not carry legal ramifications. And I wouldn't even take the fucking chance of doing that. There's a reason I go by the real life cartoon villain. Because any threat that I actually want to make, first of all, I could probably pull it off. Ask me how I know. But second, it's something that sounds so fucking absurd that you won't think it won't actually happen. And as a tactics thing, if it's something your enemy thinks it won't happen, they don't prepare for it. So when I created that poem, and that was at least a month before I actually put it on Jack Napier's channel, I crafted that specifically so it couldn't be taken as an explicit threat. Which for Jack, you know, because he's in the European Union, whatever, and anything seems like a threat over there, he took it like that. And and be honest, I don't blame him for that, because it's skirting the line, basically. The disclaimer there, as far as that goes, is that when the time comes, I'll come after you, and then the other part. When the time comes, that means I'm just waiting. I'm not actively throwing a threat at you. I'm just saying it might come, or at least it will come. And probably you too. Just saying. More on that coming up. So as far as that goes, you know, like threatening your channel, I wouldn't do that. So hopefully you understand. But that dovetails nicely into why I would even do any of that shit in the first place. Here's the thing. Look at the opposite side. Look who is opposing us. Joe Dolio, again, tactical-wisdom.com. Look at his latest post. Look at who is opposing us. The left, the socialists, the communists. That's who we're opposing, at least on paper. And the reason I say at least on paper is because we're doing the live streams, we're talking about it, we're doing live streams about it. About what's going on. I'm doing things to prepare. You guys have seen those. I'm sure Joe Dolio is, and maybe a few other people. Rob says maybe as well. But the left, at least here, they're the ones that are on the streets. They're the ones devising tactics. Though there was latest post about battle boards and how the left are actually drawing battle maps. Go look at that and tell me that the right is anywhere near as prepared as that. Sure, they're fucking fucktarded. They don't know how to handle their guns, although they're learning. Tell me they know about, they don't know about tactics as well as, the U.S. Army or the Air Force or the Navy or the Marines or whatever. Or any other armed force. No, they're not. They're still a fucking joke, but they're working on it. And they're working on it better than the civilians on the right. And that's what it comes down to. They are the civilians on the left. They are not active duty or anything like that. They wouldn't be part of the army. They wouldn't actually risk their lives if they can help it. And I can't blame them because I'm the same way. But as far as a lot of the tactics, they're way ahead of those of us that are supposed to be on our team. Supposed to be on our side. We're going to use our guns and our AR-15s and our 9mm Glocks and 6 hours and all this shit. And maybe those people actually practice with them every once in a while if they have enough ammo. By the way, just like toilet paper, that's kind of in shortage right now. I didn't know if you knew that. And our side has what? They're good at putting holes in paper targets, and that's it. Maybe have to store some food. How you combat these assholes? They're working on how to combat with you. And they've been successful, by the way. They showed up at people's houses who were armed. And they were armed with nothing but Molotov cocktails, laser lights, and their voices. And loudspeakers and shit. And the people at the households, they had their AR-15s, they had their pistols and all that shit. And guess who won? The left, because the right, the people who were getting targeted were arrested. For brandishing firearms inside their own fucking homes at the people who are threatening to burn them down. That's the reality here. I don't know what it's like in the Netherlands, but that's what it's like here. I guess in the Netherlands, you would do it, what? Bike locks and wrist rockets, maybe, if they even know what those are. Who knows? But the threat of war here in the U.S., that's fucking real. There's a reason I've dressed up the exact way that I have now. Fucking respirator, the helmet, the cape, the weights, which double as armor, at least in a kinetic sense. The weapons that I carry, which I'm still upgrading to this day. I live this shit every day. I know, every night that I go out to work is a night I might not come home. But I prepare every fucking night, every fucking day, to make sure that at least I have the tools to fight my way back out. Such is the environment that I work in. I'm going to take a wild guess, Jack, and say that that's not the environment that you work in. You work in a government place. I don't know what it is, and I don't really need to know what it is anyways. But you work in relative safety. I don't. I am boots on the ground every fucking day. And that's something, let's just put it this way. I've had to put myself in that mindset. The reason I'm in this mindset now is because I had to beat it into my own head before anyone else did. Up until now, up until the last few months, it's been rather peaceful here. For the last 5 or so years, I could have left my windows down. I learned against that. I listened to a show that I did, the last Laughter Humanity show that I did. I actually went over this and I listened to it today because I was looking over my other devices. It had the memory was full and I was deleting shit, and I was listening to this show that I had on this device. And whether I should delete it or not, I didn't have to. But in that episode, it was like, okay, the reason I made this episode and the one before it, that I think it got lost or whatever. I had my car not broken into, but I had a bunch of shit stolen out of there. And now, granted, I have my windows open, so probably one of the reasons why. But the reason I had the windows open in the first place, keep in mind, I come from Inglewood. That's where you always roll the windows up, lock the car, and all this other shit. Unless you come back and your car is gone. Where the fuck is my car? But the reason I was there in the first place, the reason this happened in the first place, is because I got real complacent. It's because I was real fucking relaxed. And then that shit happened. Who's watching? Throw a comment in, by the way. I'm going to guess it's Bull Rush because for whatever reason, he always is up around these hours. Etsy.com/shop/Lazarus Razors, by the way. Give him a plug. But I got real fucking relaxed. I got complacent. And I finally fucking realized that. And the reason I carry a lot of the gear that I have now, it's Rage On. Socialist Revolution, my comrade. Okay, we'll talk about that later. It's Rage On. Thank you, Rage On, for joining, by the way. The reason I carry a lot of my gear now is not because of the wear mask thing. By the way, that includes a voice amplifier that is wired. And I've been working on that part so I can actually properly seal my respirator for the task that the respirator is supposed to do. But I carry that so I don't have to take it off every time I need to talk to somebody. The reason I wear that, I wear the wire helmet, I wear the weights, which carry much more kinetic energy if I need to fucking punch and kick somebody. Wear the bear mace, wear the holster for the bear mace. I wear the hammer in case I need it, and probably the chains at some point. The chain weapons. Reason I'll be carrying those, or am already carrying them, it ain't because I think I'm gonna need them too much. I need to get myself in that mindset. As my own instructor said, the problem with me is that I'm too nice. I'm too kind. I'll put this in the comments if he wants to join. Call-in number. Hang on a second. There you go. 253-397-8430. 253-397-8430. That is 253-397-8430. It is called Wide Open Phones for a reason. You want to call in, call in. I don't know how that works in Canada. I can also put the StreamYard app out there as well. Let's do that, actually. Hang on. Give me a second. There, so that's in there. You want to join? Go ahead. You have both options. But I had to get myself in this mindset. Because, you know what? My instructor, he was right. I'm way too nice. And I walked into a lot of things that I ended up having to deal with because I was too nice. The reason I ended up in a lot of conflicts, you know, the whole wear mask bullshit. I didn't see that coming because I was too nice. I'll give you something to look up. Look up Shunsui Kiyaraku. He is a character in a manga called Bleach. Pretty much describes me to a T. Now, for the most part, he comes off across as a real laid back guy, but he's very powerful. He's one of the most powerful characters in Bleach. But at the start of the latest arc, that's going to be coming up actually, pretty soon. It's not animated yet, but it's in the book part of it. This guy's super laid back, and I still remember his first confrontation. Super laid back with his opponent until he didn't have to be, or He actually had to take him down, and he didn't really even have to do all that much. It wasn't until he had to deal with an actual threat, the people who were invading this fucking time. The fucker lost an eye. And that's when he started taking. He lost an eye, and then the head captain fucking died. Person who was the strongest person ever in Soul Society. He ended up losing his life in this fight. The first one, and then he gets appointed as his replacement, basically. And then what he does, once he's appointed as the leader, he has to deal with the second invasion. He does a lot of things that most of the other people in the group didn't agree with, but what he did, his expression was like, look, we need to fucking win. We need to take these fuckers down. And we need to do everything we need. Anything we can do, we need to do to take this out. To take this threat out. And I'll be honest, I was the same way. I did the same thing with a lot of the whole massacre. Like, did all the fucking arguments, whether it was personal, whether it had to do with women, whether it was constitutional, all that shit. I made all the arguments. And they still kept on with their belief. So what that means is, should you have to engage them at all, is you have to be real fucking extreme. You have to take things as far as you can. Or you have to actually employ kinetic force. You have to actually fight them. Ray John says socialist revolution, my comrade. Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of talking about. How good is a $100 stun baton? Funny you bring that up. The Spurgs that I fought against, the ones that were armored skateboards, I tried to deter them with the stun baton. Now you'd have to let me know which stun baton you got, because there's only a couple I've seen that are actually $100. And I don't know which ones you're allowed to have in Canada. But the ones that I had, I used one of them. I tried to deter these attackers with a stun baton. And they didn't stop. In fact, my stun baton is still in two pieces. If it's still on the streets, it's in Capitol Hill. Is quite literally the definition of no good plan survives first contact with the enemy. It's in two pieces now. It's broken. But that's where I'm coming from. Let me give a little bit of a history lesson as far as this goes. I'm at the end of the cigar. Think about wartime mindset. You need to be willing and able to do whatever it takes to win. And when we're not just talking about short term, we're not just talking about getting the war over. We need to talk about getting to where this never happens again. So this goes back to my poem about AOC. Where they're all hunt her down and do things to her. Who is pushing this shit? That is women and men raised as women. That's who it is. How did you get in a fight with skateboard attackers? They got into the fight with me. I did not seek that out. Just so you know. To answer Razon's question. But all the gear that I'm carrying now, I'm serious about this shit. Same thing with Shunsui's character, Kiraku's character. He didn't take things too seriously until shit really got real. And then he got real fucking serious. And then when he got serious, he got real fucking serious. He got shit done. Things that were questionable. Things that, hell, in his realm, might have been questionable as far as what do you call it? Let's just say war crimes could have been called on him. But he did it anyways. And the reason he did it was to fucking prevail against a very direct threat to his society. And that's what I'm saying now. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying now. If you go to my YouTube channel, the new one, Bacon LAH, Lima Alpha Hotel show. There's a reason the name on there is Wartime Bacon. It's because I realize this is wartime. And I've lived this shit already. I'm living it again. I know what this looks like. And so that's why I said what I said. Look, your first offense is your voice. And I always advocate, use your voice first. Hey, you're too close to me. I can hear you from here. And if they keep advancing, if they keep coming towards you with whatever implement of destruction they have, then they obviously have the intent to do something other than talk to you. Ask me how I know. But, and I'm getting to the conclusion now that these fucking Spurs, they aren't even going to listen to that. They aren't going to listen to anything. They only will respond to violence. Again, ask me how I know. I've already been through this shit. The reason I went with the wording that I did is I want that, if it works with that caveat, if it works, it will invoke the fear of God in those people. Now, why did I go with come after, then inside of you? Let's dive into that. And I see your question, Ray John. Well, so I carry a lot of other things. Let's just put it that way. Including the chains. Reason I want that. What's the most traumatic? And again, women are the ones that have been championing all this shit. And women raised by, or men raised by women are the ones championing this shit. We'll get to the men in a moment. Well, let's just talk about the women for a moment. What's the worst thing that could happen to them? Well, let's ask, what's the value a woman brings? That's her body, and as unadulterated, as unused as it possibly can be. We're talking sex here. Yes, we are. Because, like it or not, the value that comes with a woman comes with her body. Doesn't mean that women can't have any other value outside of that. I'm just saying that's where she initially, or for the most part, gets her value. Every man that she wants to get with is going to look at her looks first and what she's done with her body since then. There's a reason that body count actually matters. The worst thing that can happen to a woman is that she gets her body taken from her or taken control of by a man or maybe multiple men. We'll get into that in a moment. She gets her body taken control of by another man or other men. And she is made to do that act that we're not allowed to talk about on here. Which, again, is why you should subscribe to my channel, thegoddamnbacon.com. I'll talk about that there all I want because it's under my control. We're on YouTube, so I can't do that. But you know what I'm talking about. Her body is taken control of by a man to do things that she doesn't want to do. Democracy at work. But let's dive more into that. Why is that so traumatic? Now, there's the physical part of it, obviously. Obviously, you know, being bent over and having something thrust in you and it doing things into you as a woman, that's going to be real fucking invasive and that's going to leave its own scars. I understand that. Keep in mind, the biggest sex organ in a woman is in between her ears. It's in her head. So again, the physical part alone, that's going to be scarring enough. Here's what I've read and I've came across in my own research here. In defense of being taken advantage of, let's just put it that way. A woman's vagina will lubricate itself so it's not damaged. And not only that, if you follow this channel long enough, you know that women love to be taken. They love for a guy to hold them up, hold them into some space and then just fuck the shit out of them for their own pleasure. They love it. Ask me how I know. And so how's that difference from some guy who's doing it against her will? Literally pulling her away and doing things with her the way that she wants, that she in her biological state would want it to happen to her. Only this time, instead of some significant other or husband or whatever, it's some guy that she may or may not know. It's the same fucking thing. And so this time it's an unplanned encounter. He's going ahead and do her, and I'm going to take a wild fucking guess and say that most of these cases that they're not guys that they know. Or they probably are guys that they know. Usually, most of these cases, they happen with family and friends and all this stuff. But in any case, these were people they were having sex that they weren't planning on having sex with. And so initially, obviously it sucks the entire way, but initially it definitely fucking sucks. But their body is getting them into it. And one of the other things I want to throw out there, again, the best physical feeling, maybe aside from having children, but aside from that, the best feeling a woman is ever going to have is some guy basically completing inside of her. He's coming inside her, climaxing inside of her. And trust me, no guy is gonna, if he's gonna do this kind of thing to a woman, he ain't doing it without completion. He's coming inside of her. And that's the best feeling she'll ever have, aside from literally after having the kid or whatever. And her body recognizes that. Again, she will end up going along with that. Even if it's completely unplanned, if he is like in the fucking alley or something, he grabs her after she comes out of the bar and doos her in a dumpster. She has her bent over, right over like one of the trash cans or whatever. Her body, maybe she's not into it, but her body will be. So her body will. It'll get her into it, it'll get lubed up, and now it's starting to feel real fucking good, and then he busts inside of her. And she gets those happy juices flowing from this guy who she really didn't want to have sex with, but ended up happening anyways. And now the act is done. Maybe he's left or whatever. She's still left with that, and now she has to go find her shower and go get in the fetal position and cry in. And the reason she's crying in that, she's just got taken advantage of. She's gotten completely taken advantage of. I'm just going to put it that way. But it felt so fucking good. Ray John is right. Women do have rape fantasies. And there's a reason for that. Because they got taken control of. And that's what usually happens with those. You are getting taken control of if you're a woman. And that's what really turns women on. You take control of them. What happens when someone gets pulled into the alley and has to have sex, with somebody? That's what happens. And that's what I think really... There's the physical part, again, that I think really that does have a factor. But it's that psychological part. You were taking control of, but you liked it, and the result of which it really turned you on. Probably in the ways that most of the guys who you dated didn't turn you on. But you got it from this guy who you weren't planning to have sex with, but ended up having sex with anyways. That really turned you on. And that's what I think really fucks women up. That's what I think the whole our culture thing came from. Now, to back me up on that, look at Germany. Germany, back in the 1940s, they were waging war against everybody they fucking could. United States, Britain, France, who they actually took over, and Russia. Now, when all was said and done, they lost really fucking bad, and they got split into different cultures or different states or whatever. There was West Germany, which was ruled by the Western powers, and there was East Germany that was ruled by Soviet Russia. What happened when Russia took over that part? They raped the ever-loving shit out of the entire part of Eastern Europe that they could get to. They killed off all the men, like most tribes did. They kill off the men, they impregnate the women. That's what they do. And so they did that for the entire part of Eastern Germany. And that happened for God knows what, 30, 40 fucking years. And Rajon even put up East Germany. There you go. Did exactly what, warring tribes who win actually do to the losing tribes. They killed off the men. They probably the children too. I don't know. But they fucked all the women. They did it. And trust me, I saw the fucking a lot of the cases there. So that was not consensual. The German women did not want to have sex with the Russian men, but they did anyways. And what does Germany look like now? Not the concrete wall or the iron wall is down. They've been allowed to mix with East and West. Germany has been allowed to mix again, with each other again. The men, they're a little bit more harder nosed than the American men these days. And I would actually, allot that to the Russian side of people. Though the Russians, not the Russians, but the Germans, they're also pretty hard nosed as well, as far as the men goes. The women, why do you think there's that fetish? There's a cat fetish, and that's a whole other thing. But there's also that fetish of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 guys fucking one woman and coming inside of her. Why do you think that's the thing? Because that was literally bred inside of them. Over the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 fucking years. That's what was bred inside of them. And the reason was because the Russians took over half of that country. And took over half of that country, and they fucked all of the women who were in that half of the country. Whether it was in their will or not. Why do I bring this up? Because genetics really fucking matters. You can look at Germany now. What is Germany doing now? They're taking themselves out. They've gone from 100 years ago being one of the smallest countries that really could have taken the world over to being a country that they're importing the people who will take them over. That being the Africans and the people from the Middle East. East Germany is the least patriotic country, or was. That's most of Germany now. Germany is just, they've had, keep in mind, Germany was the country that, they were the center of both world wars. They were the antagonists for both of them. That's how badass they were. And now, at least back then, they got taken over. They were defeated, and they had invaders and part of the Russians basically fucked the shit out of half of them, and then that got into the rest of the genetics. It's over. They're not ever going to start a world war ever again. Sure, they're still overcomplicated with a lot of their automotive and other shit, technological stuff. And they're still going to produce that, but the fight in them is literally been fucked out of them. Literally. So that part about coming after and inside of somebody, that's where that comes from. It's acknowledging that fact. You want to stop all this bullshit from going on? All this socialism going on? You need to actually take a real fucking hard edge. And as Rajon says, Ha ha, my people taking over Germany. Do you want to stop that shit? You need to take a real fucking hard edge against that shit. You need to stop being nice. You need to stop being courteous. You need to stop establishing rules. You can't do that anymore. Because guess what, asshole? They aren't going to have the same rules for you. If you lose, Jack Napier, Rob says, whatever, they're going to rape you into Bolivian. Because that's how biology works. And so all I'm saying, you need to have the same fucking rules for them. You cannot win a war with an opponent that gives one or two less fucks than you. They will fucking win. Did you think the wartime bacon thing was a fucking joke? Did you think real life cartoon villain was a fucking joke? I embody everything I do with what I wear. And all of it has a tactical use. And that's something I need you fuckers to understand. This is war. Maybe it's not war in the way that maybe you've seen it on the news or in history books or anything like that. But this is war nonetheless. And this is a war that you seriously probably are going to lose. I'm going to put that out there right now. You're probably going to lose this war. As prepared as you are, you're still going to lose. Because your enemy is far more prepared than you are. Let's bring up another thing that I just thought of. The Revolutionary War. It was Americans and their French allies fighting against the British Empire, who allied with the natives that were there. They're probably most prepared. They had all kinds of arms and stuff. And the Americans had what? 5 muskets, 3 cannons, and all this shit. Had a couple of allies there. And they still managed to win. We are on the opposite side of that. All these people on the right. You got the AR-15s, the 9mm pistols, and pallets and crates of ammo and all this shit. But you're too afraid to go outside if it rains. Meanwhile, the left, they've been devising battle plans, as Joe Dolio said, at tacticalwisdom.com. They've been devising tactics. They have maps drawn. That you fuckers don't have. They have been taking this fight far more seriously than you have. It's the people that are going to be taking this fight more seriously that will win this fight. And you fuckers haven't. That's why I'm very extreme with my words now these days. In case you're wondering. Again, a recap. Your words are the first line of defense. And from what I'm seeing, to be honest, I don't think words actually will work anymore. You'll just have to resort to violence. But the reason I picked the words that I did. Actually, let's get back to that. Again, reason I picked those words. Best feeling a woman's ever going to have is a guy coming inside of her. Again, ask me how I know. Now, where that conflict is going to come from, it wasn't a guy she was planning to have sex with. But then he made her have sex with him. And then he made her feel good because, again, women love to be taken. So there's that conflict. She's being taken against her will. She didn't want to have sex with this guy, but he's making her do it. But being made to have sex is something that women love. Especially when it comes inside of her. Why are women so fucked up after they get taken advantage of? Let's just put it that way. Because that happens. Because likely, at that point, the greatest feeling she's ever gotten was from a guy that she never planned to have sex with. The greatest experiment she got, the greatest feeling she ever had was with a guy that she never wanted to have sex with. That'll fuck with anybody. And speaking of that, I had time to think about what was worst thing for the guys. And I think it's the same thing. From what I keep hearing, it's the same thing. Guys getting fucked up the ass, or well, probably any other way they can get fucked, really. I keep hearing that the G-spot is in the ass for guys. I don't know that to be true. But I would say, just at a guess. And at prison, to kind of lend to that, say you're in prison and you're some guy's bitch, I guess. You don't want to have sex with this guy, but he's having sex with you anyways. And it's the best feeling that you ever had. That's going to be pretty fucking traumatic anyways, because you don't want to do that, but he's doing it to you anyways. And it's the best feeling you've ever had. That's going to be fucking traumatic. And the reason I bring both of those up, that's the mindset you have to have towards your enemies. You want to stop this? Fuck it out of their existence. Again, why did I bring up the Germans? They're the ones that started World War II and took over several countries, by the way. They almost won this fucking war. How did it get stopped? But they got stopped militarily, but their country got invaded. At least half of it got invaded by Russians who literally fucked the war out of them. Now, do you think the Germans can start a war these days? I don't know about you, but I fucking doubt it. It got fucked out of them, literally. Now they're into 100 guys doing one girl. Ask your YouPorn thumbnail how it knows. That literally got bred into their system, into their culture. And that's what it's going to take. You want to know how to take all this shit out? You're going to have to find a leftist and fuck all this shit out of them. Whether it's in their will or not. That's why I promoted this this poem that I had. I'm going to come after and inside of you. That's why. Now I've had a vasectomy, so don't worry. No kids are going to come out of this. But that's the mindset you kind of have to have going into this. This is wartime, my friends. This is fighting time. You don't have the time to be fucking moral. Morals are for the fucking weak. You go into this fight with morals, you are going to die. You get offended by the shit that I'm going to say, you're going to die. That's what's going to happen. I can understand that you don't want cause of violence tied to your channel. I get that. And that's why I word things the way that I do. But listen, son. And Jack Napier, you're younger than I am. Not by much, but enough. It's going to come to that. You think your enemy's going to have the same fucking sentiments that you do? Let me assure you, they're not. They want your head on a pike. As long as your body can still keep producing the resources that sustain them. They're coming after you, like it or not. So you have to have the same fucking mindset that they do. Or even more depraved, even more ruthless. If you think my poem is all that bad, if you think it's inside of violence, trust me, it could have been way worse. My poem was an acknowledgement. Look, it's gonna come to that. And again, that's what it's gonna take. Left is not gonna fucking stop. No, they will stop. They will stop when you're dead. When there is no resistance against them. That's when it's gonna stop. So you think what I said was offensive? Have you looked around these days? Look around you. Look around at all the people who are wearing masks. Look around at the people who are telling you to social distance. You're already in a war zone, my friend. Understand that. As far as this war goes, you're already in it. I've already been there. And I'm in it again, by the way. I know what the fuck to do. Time to fight is now. If you're offended over words, you deserve to die. And guess what? A lot of people will be doing that. You're pissed off because I said what I said, because of the poem that I made. Are you really upset about that? I understand that you don't want your channel to be flagged. I get that. Aside from that, we're past, what do you call it? The, I don't know, open ceremonies, whatever the fuck you call it. We're already in this. The fighting has already started. Only difference is that the bullets haven't been started flying yet. We are in wartime. And you either acknowledge that or you don't. Reason I am that harsh with my words is because should the words actually fucking work, they will actually do what they're designed to do, and that is to divert somebody from actually make me have to use physical force. The reason I am that fucking blunt. Do you want me to come after then inside of you? And that goes for guys as well as girls. Though I don't know if you'd be able to get up as much for guys, but that's besides the point. The threat is there. And that's the whole fucking point. You use those words so you don't have to use force. And if they don't listen to that, and they keep coming after you anyways, then guess what you have to use? If you guess force, win a prize. I don't want it to come to that. And that's why I use a lot of the hard words that I do. That poem was just one of them. And if you think that's too much. If you think I'm going too far. Do you want to go farther than that? Do you want to see where this really fucking goes? Because I can guarantee you, you want to ignore that, it's going to go farther than that. And these tactics that I've talked about, they're going to go there. I don't want them to go there. That's why I use the words. You can disagree with the words if you want, but that's why I use them. The reason I use them is because I don't want the reality to go there. If it does, well, I'm prepared for that. Are you? What else can I say? Just to recap. Things that I said. Trust me, they're things that I don't want to do, really, honestly. Don't want to go hunt down AOC and then come inside of her. Actually, well, I wouldn't mind doing that, but as far as that scenario goes, no, not really. But if it stops her from doing a lot of the bullshit and tyranny that she's talking about, if I had to do it, sure, I would. As far as anyone else, depending on how I look, but sure, I would. But that's not something I'm promoting. But you have to have that mindset. You have to go beyond them. Keep in mind, if they fucking win, if they end up victorious, in whatever manner that ends up taking, they're not going to take that same quarter with you. As much posturing and limit setting that I'm doing, they're not going to do that with you. They will rape and kill you as well. They will throw you in a fucking dumpster. Ask me how I know. They don't have the same morals that you do. They will dispose of you as quickly and as dirtily as they fucking can. And those are the people that you're asking me, hey, should we be doing this? Stop being violent against these people. They're going to be violent against you. So that shit needs to end. You got to understand, my friend, they're going to be way more violent against you than even what I'm saying. And even I'm being cartoonish here, but even what I'm saying isn't going to hold account to what they're going to do to you. So you need to understand that, buddy. Or you're going to end up on a losing team and finding out just what morals they have against you that you didn't have against them. Understand that. Do you want to be at the mercy of these fucking people? Or do you want them at your mercy? See, I want them at my mercy. At least that way they'll fucking enjoy it. If we're at their mercy, well, that's a whole different fucking story now, isn't it? There's a reason I have wartime bacon up there. This is wartime. I've already lived through shit like this. I didn't think I'd live through it again, but here I am. But I know what the fuck is going to happen. And you need to have the right fucking mindset to get through it. I didn't have it before. But I was like 5 or 6 at the time. And then 19 or something at the other time. I've been through this shit before. Do you want to come out of this alive? Let alone whole, intact, not traumatized, as best as you can be if you go through wartime. I implore you to listen to this. Fine, what I said, it sounds harsh. Take those enemies and literally fuck the, what do you call it? The war out of them, the socialists out of them. That's what it's going to take. You want this shit to end? That's what it's going to take. And if you're not wanting to do that, then shut the fuck up. Because you're going to have to do that to them. That's how it got into them in the first fucking place. So if you're not willing to do what it takes to get this shit to end, then shut the fuck up. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very much for taking time to listen. Until next time, stay free. Keep it tactical. And above all else, especially these days, be chaos, my friends.